That right there is what you can turn $1,000 into if you are smart with how you park and for how long you park it. We're going to talk about that right now. First and foremost though, if you're new to the channel and looking to achieve financial freedom starting this year, it's never too late no matter your age. Definitely consider hitting that subscribe button below. So like I was saying at the beginning of the video, as you notice, I said if you literally take $1,000 and park it the right way, you can literally have over $93,000 and in some cases even more dollars if you keep it in one place for a long period of time. In this case, what I'm going to use here is 40 years. So you can do this if you're 20, 25, 30, 35, even 40. I mean, it's never too late. Good news is you're living longer. I mean, most people are living up in their 80s, 90s, even hundreds anymore. So it's really never too late to get started. Better now than never is what they always say, right? So pretty much what we're going to do for this example is we're going to invest $1,000, just $1,000 straight up, nothing more, nothing less, just a basic number, $1,000. You're going to park it in, say, like a mutual fund or S&P 500, just whatever you may wish to invest in, something that averages 12% interest, like 12% growth per year. So for this basic example now, obviously there's so many different ways to go about doing this, but I just want to keep it plain and as simple for you guys as possible. So what you're going to do here, if you're wanting to like follow the math or whatnot, you're going to take your $1,000. So like I said, you're going to take your $1,000, and eventually I'll probably like do this on my laptop and upload a video about how to go about doing it. But just for this video purpose, just because I was wondering about this and actually looked it up on Khan Academy and learned the power of compound interest finally and how it works, it just blew my mind, and I wanted to do this video as soon as possible for you guys, just to show that really it does not take much to really start making money. $1,000. We're not starting out with $10,000, $100,000. This is just $1,000. Now I'll probably go through another quick few examples just to show you how mind-blowing this math is. But for now, just $1,000. You're going to take $1,000, and like I said, with 12% growth, you're going to take it times 1.12. So your 1.12, your 0.12 is your actual interest every year. And then if you're using an iPhone, you'll want to do your you'll want to put your phone sideways, and you're going to want to hit your X to the Y power key. It's like near the top center of the keyboard. I don't know if you all can see it that well there, but I'll go ahead and do it real quick. And then you're going to do to the 40th power, 40 years, because that's how long we're going to park this investment. And the math you get on that is $93,050.97. And then obviously there's a bunch of other numbers at the end, but you round up to 2 decimals obviously with money. So it's literally $93,050.97. So I mean, that if that literally does not get you just motivated and just almost pissed off that you never knew this, if you're 30, 35 years old and just like, is it too late? No, it's not too late, because look, you're gonna live longer. Even if you're 35 years old and you do this for 40 years, just with $1,000. Imagine if you did this with $50,000, $100,000. I'm getting ready to do that here in a second just to show you how mind-blowing it is. But just imagine that you parked it. You're not sitting here throwing in a whole bunch of day trade. You're not day trading or anything like that. Nothing against day trading whatsoever. I actually love day trading, and I'm looking forward to doing it in the future. But this is just basic. Throw it in a mutual fund or something, whatever you wish to throw it in. Park it for 40 years, knowing that it's going to average at least around 12% per year, quote-unquote recession-proof. That's with ups and downs in the economy, no matter what. Some years you have 18%, some years you have -2, some years you have -10, who knows how much. It just equals out to about 12%. That $1,000 will literally turn into almost $100,000, guys. That is insane, just in 40 years. Now let's go ahead and get a little crazy with it. Let's say that you have $10,000 sitting around. So you're going to take your $10,000. I'm going to show you guys every step of the math so you don't think I'm BSing you. You're going to take it still times your 1.12, and then again you're going to want to go ahead and do it to the 40th power for 40 years. Look at that. $930,509.70. So you're literally almost a millionaire just because you invested $10,000 one time, just a one-time $10,000 investment for 40 years. You didn't touch it. You didn't get scared when the markets went down or anything. You parked it in there, and you're literally just about a millionaire off that alone, just off of $10,000. Let's go ahead and get a little bit even crazier with it. Let's say you outperform 12%, which many people do. Many people average 14, 15, up to 18%. Not necessarily over a 40-year period. I mean, some could for sure, but you definitely have to, it's just luck at the end of the day, and really knowing your stuff, or having a really good broker. There's obviously a ton of stuff playing into how each person's portfolio performs. But let's say you take that same $10,000 investment, multiply it times, let's just say 15%, so 1.15, and then we're going to go ahead and do that to the 40th power. So now you're at almost $2.7 million off of a 15% average over 40 years. Now, is that a little bit out of reach? Maybe. I mean, it's not, I'm not going to say that you're guaranteed 15%. I'm not even going to say you're guaranteed 12. But if you look at it, historic averages, if you go with like a good broker or whatnot, good mutual company, mutual fund, whatever you decide to go with, if you go with one and you look at the chart and historically, if you were to draw a line through it all and it averages 12% growth, then you're not doing too bad. That's average. If you want to be a little bit even more conservative, even 8 to 10, let's say you do the bare minimum, which is on average on the low end, conservative, 7-8%. Let's do 8% on that $10,000. So $10,000 times 1.08, and now we're going to do that by 40 years. That's still almost $250,000, guys, off of a $10,000 investment. Now let's say you don't have that $10,000 because this purpose was $1,000, of course. So let's go back to our $1,000 times 1.08 over 40 years. It's not going to be quite as much, but you're still at almost 22, even just $22,000. I mean, it's not a lot, obviously. Obviously, that's literally half the percent interest, 8% to, or not half, 8% to 12%. I mean, that's a huge, 4% is a huge difference when you're compounding over time. I mean, look at how big the difference was just from 12% to 15. I mean, it was almost $2 whole million. So, I mean, you really want to do your homework when it comes to where you plan on parking your money. I can't stress that enough. If you don't think you're going to average, at least on average is a key word here. I'm not saying that every year you're going to do 12%. That's just not realistic. You're going to have some years, like this last year, we do 18, 20%. Then you'll have others where you do 2%. Then you have others where you're doing 6%. Then others where you might dip for a year or two and do -2, -5, who knows. And then you have other 4 or 5 years where you're doing 16, 18%. I mean, it just all, I'm saying at the end of the day, equals out to 12%. When you draw a line through it, you can literally have 12% period. Now let's say your time is running short. Let's say you think you only have 20 years till retirement or something. So let's say that you went ahead and invested still let's say 10,000, because let's be real, if you only have 20 years left, it's time to get moving. You better have some sort of money somewhere. You're in kind of a deep hole, so to speak. But let's say you scrape up $10,000 and you manage to get a pretty good fund, mutual fund, at like 14%. And let's say, like I said, let's say you do 20 years. Like I said, I'm going to show you all the math. 20 years. That is still over $137,000. Nothing big. I mean, you're not going to be rich or anything. But the average American can live, at least here where I live, the average American, if you're living within your means and whatnot, can easily live off of $30,000 a year. So let's say that you manage to live off of $30,000 a year, and that's of course like with no debt and whatnot, house paid off and everything. Divide that by 30,000. that gives you about 4.5, 5 years of expenses. So I mean, it's not a lot, but I mean, that's 4 to 5 years of expenses that you wouldn't have had if you never invested at all. So I mean, it's just something to think about, guys. The power of compound interest is huge. If you're around my age, 18, if you are the age of 18 to 25 years old, this should excite the ever-living shit out of you. Excuse me for the language, but I mean, and I know YouTube will probably demonetize the video, but like I said, I don't care. I mean, this stuff is just insane. Imagine, let's say you're 18, 20 years old. Most of us only have maybe $1,000 to invest, because let's be real, the struggle is real in your younger years. So let's say you find $1,000 and you park it in just a basic 12% performing fund, and let's just say 20, let's just round it to 20 years old for math purposes. So let's say you don't pull out of that until you are 80 years old, 60 years. So let's do that math. Oh, I messed up my math, hold on. 1,000 times 1.12 to the 60th power. Now, chances are you're going to pull it out well before you're 80, but let's just say you're using it kind of as your quote-unquote older year emergency fund. Like, you don't want to use this money unless if you just have to, you run out of retirement money or a medical event comes up, which is definitely a good idea. I'm not saying that no one's going to do it, but it's definitely a good idea. But that would almost, in its own, be worth almost $1 million. Well, not quite, almost $900,000. So I mean, the math is just mind-blowing. I'll just do this one last time. I know the video's getting a little long, but I mean, I just love, I mean, I kind of geek out over this stuff. Anything to do with making money, literally not having to work for it over time, I mean, who does not get excited about that? I mean, let's be real. So let's say somehow you're around 20 years old and you come up with $10,000. Now, a lot of people, that might be, I know for my age, that might be out of reach, but let's say somehow you do manage to come across $10,000. Maybe you sell a car or something and you have $10,000 sitting. Who knows? Let's just say somehow you come up with $10,000 by the time you're 20, 21-ish years old. And now let's do that times that 1.12 for 12%. Now let's just say that you do it for 50 years, because that's probably a more realistic number, 70-ish. That's definitely a more realistic number for pulling out for retirement purposes, maybe emergencies and whatnot, helping maybe your granddaughter with a wedding or something, who knows. So let's say that we do that for 50 years. Look at that. Almost $3 million, guys. So you literally go 10 years less just by investing $9,000 more. A $9,000 investment with 10 years less, you're going to actually have almost $2 million, or actually I think more than $2 million more than the guy that just invested $1,000 for 60 years. Because like I said, for that one, he was pulling out around 80 years old. This one's pulling out 70, so 50 years. So you're investing 10 years less, only $9,000 more, but you're getting literally $2 million more than the guy that invested 10 more years. It's just mind-blowing, guys. Too, that's $1 million. That's what? How much per year? I don't know that math off the top of my head. It's $2 million more, 10 years. Let's do the math on that. 2 million divided by 10. That is $200,000 a year more of quote. If you were to like pull it out and divide it and whatnot, that'd be $200,000 a year. I mean, it's just. Whew. That's just mind-blowing, guys. If that does not motivate you to get your stuff together financially as soon as possible, be it paying off debt, paying off your student loans debt, obviously, paying off your house, getting that emergency fund started, getting rid of that car that's devalued, that's losing its value every day that it's sitting out there. If that does not motivate you to just temporary sacrifice small things that no one gives a shit about at the end of the day, it is such a huge reward in the long run. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. You can expect a lot more videos on these topics going forward, because it just excites the hell out of me, and I'm sure it does you guys for sure. But like I said, if you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing. If you don't want to do it below, I'll put it right here. And if you didn't see one of my previous financial videos, I'll be sure to post that right there. But until next time, guys, like I said, let's make 2018 the year of our life. Let's change our habits, and let's go make some money starting this year.